touched on many different points that I think are interesting for us to go a little deeper. The first one, actually, I've been meaning to ask you is more, um, you know, do you have any spiritual practices in your life or any relationship with any sort? It doesn't have to be a religion, but if you do, that's fine as well. But in terms of just mindfulness and
I I celebrate knowledge, and I celebrate frugality. My best spiritual source of information are my books. Uh, I grew in a Catholic family. Had a lot of problems with that. Personally, I really didn't like and didn't believe, but I feel that early early on the Christian morale, and I would say more the Catholic morale. I had a lot of problems because if I were Catholic, I was doing everything wrong. Uh, and very early on, I started reading, I would say 14, 15 years old. Um, Nietzsche really shaped who I am, like Gaia Ciencia, Gay Science, the Antichrist, Ecce Homo. These left a very big impact in who I am. And I have a lot of rituals. I don't have anything religious. Like my rituals are, I have every year I define my personal mantras, and I read them every day and repeat them every day, first thing in the morning.
that's awesome. Well,
Um, I
affirmations are
have
like a pretty important part of a spiritual practice. I do think that the it's funny. Well, keep on going. Sorry, it's just as fascinating. We'll get there to the
affirmations. Um have you ever heard of the Bruce Lee
Oh,
ladder?
just today on my newsletter I quote Bruce Lee. No joke, and I
Uh,
love Striking Thoughts is
yeah, Bruce Lee
such a
wrote.
great book.
Yeah, Bruce Lee wrote a letter to himself when he was virtually unknown, and said, "In the next 10 years, I will be the most well recognized Asian actor in Hollywood, and I will be a master of martial arts." And that's a letter that he sent to himself 10 years later. Uh, I do have that. When I read that, it was very fascinating for me. I put together the exercise of writing it, and I track it every single year. I have my yearly bucket lists on a personal and a business level. What do I want to do? And typically, it's a 10 items checklist. Last year, I scored 6 out of 10 in the personal side and 7.5 on the business side, but mostly because COVID really changed everyone's plans.
Oh
And
yeah.
my 2021 bucket list, it's how I call it, is has a lot of things that I really wanted to do last year and I couldn't.
That's great. Well, I think affirmations, organizing yourself towards a goal, these are, in my opinion, what a high quality spiritual practice consists of. Organized religion, specifically, what the unfortunate aspect of any sort of institution behind Christianity at large, I think, provided some of the most uh, systematic destructions of the evolution of the human spirit that we've seen throughout the years. I mean, the all churches, and then there isn't. It's really difficult for to say, oh yeah, the the Lutheran church or this church or that church after I mean, these were just they were breaking off, and it was all about power. Which ultimately, like, God is all about empathy and love, and that's it, and just improving your own journey, right? So irrespective of whatever you believe, the importance of having dedicated rituals. I have many as well, so I think that's fascinating, and it includes the affirmations and this ability of really transposing your mindset into believing that the impossible is possible and finding a way to just break through those barriers on a daily basis, because that is a common characteristic of every successful person I know, or someone that's building something interesting, is that they have this individual practice that includes this combination of lists, affirmation plans, like, success. You have to want it, and it doesn't happen naturally, right? You gotta work for it.
Yes, I think this is the the most important thing. Like, you have to know what you want. Like, I want to do this, and decide, commit, and you have to believe. Like, and that's the power of affirmations. I would say affirmations without clear goals, sometimes they might help you drive change, but not results. I think this combination is very, very powerful. I know what I want, and these are the changes that I need to make to myself and to the world to get there.
That's great. That's great.
I wouldn't say I am spiritualized, but I think your question made me reflect a little bit, and maybe I'm a
I
little.
think you're far more.
I am
Yeah, you're
ritualistic.
far more spiritualized than many people, because you have the awareness of, ultimately, in my view, right? What you're doing when you're doing these, you're connecting not just with yourself, but you're also connecting with God. Because there is, and you can, and this is something that is a true. If you look into, you can look into God is that from Nietzsche. You can look at, a diluted version of Nietzsche, which is Jordan Peterson's writing. You can look at, basically, the spiritism tests from like Allan Kardec. You can look at like Yogananda stuff. Like, it's always into that same framework of human self-reliance, connecting with a greater energy that moves you into achieving what you want to achieve, and just having a system for that, where you're working on you being a better person, leader, husband, entrepreneur, investor, while you create a net positive, for the world, right? That's what it is. And in my opinion, spirituality and religion, it's about that. It's not about like, certainly some of like the 10 commandments, they just provided like a reasonably decent framework, so people wouldn't kill each other or have sex with each other's wives, like, which is reasonable, and important. But but the dogmatic aspects of religion are far stupid, right? Like, they make absolutely no sense. Ultimately, if you're doing something, you should then get the inputs and the output. Like, you will get the reactions from your actions, and so it's interesting. Uh,
Yeah, no, I'm a big believer on this. Like, you have to one of my past years affirmations: be the change you seek.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, yeah. If you're comfortable sharing, I believe, I'm not asking you about these years, because I don't think that energetically you want to condense whatever are your goals to yourself or to whomever are very close to that. But it'd be interesting to know, previous years, I guess, affirmations that are now, a reality.
Mm, my last year was really it's a quote. I don't have the exact quote right now, and I don't want to go all. It's a long quote, but it's regard. It's from an astronaut. I don't want to go into details, but it's pretty much about self reliance. You control, and there's a lot of things that might change, but there are things you are in control. It's a lot about stoicism, and a lot about mental toughness. Like, I would say these were the three main themes of my affirmations on the last year. I can share with you on private if you want later.
Sure, happy to. Yeah, I think that, if anyone is looking for additional self-reliance things. I just you Google like Ralph Waldo Emerson and his self-reliance essay, which he wrote over 150 years ago. And I think that
The man in the arena.
yes, it's very important, right? He has this quote. I just googled it here. It just says, "Be yourself, no base imitator of another, but your best self. There is something which you can do better than another. Listen to the inward voice and bravely obey that. Do the things at which you're great, not what you were never made for." And I think that's just so powerful because as a CEO, as a founder, someone that needs to bring that generating energy towards a team in order for people to accomplish something, um, you have to believe that whatever you're doing, you're the only person that can do it, and you're the best person to potentially do that job. There's no arrogance in that. This is really that self reliance of trusting the process, nature, yourself. So, um, very good. You're probably far more spiritual than
I
what
think
you thought.
I think this is one of my biggest fights with Catholic moral was the concept of humbleness. And I came from a family, a small town, very religious, and they said that everything you have to be humble. And sometimes humble is synonymous with you're poor or you're not so great. And I had a very big problem with this Catholic principle because I said, I don't want to be humble. I want to be fucking great at the things I'm great. And I want to tell people, are you good at it? I am fucking good at it. Are you good at it? I suck. I am terrible. But I don't want to set bad expectations. And I would say that to this day, sometimes people still ask things, are you good at this? And I would say, kind of, but I'm fucking good. And I try to police myself and really be honest, like, because for me, you have to share what your strengths are and know what your strengths are, same as
Yes.
weaknesses. You shouldn't be striving to be an average or to sometimes make people not feel bad that you might be better than they are at something. They are better than you at other stuff. But I think that's something that's one of my struggles with religion.
Interesting. Very good. Well, ultimately, there's, for me at least, right? Like, if you ask me something that, there are very few things in which I would respond to you saying, oh, I am world class at X. But it's only because I realized I was, reasonably decent at it or had a natural talent in it. And then I got obsessed about learning every possible little thing about it to potentially one day, with enough luck and determination, be one of the best, at it in the world. And there isn't really like that moment where I think you can rest, but there is that moment where you can say, yeah, I'm better than most people, into X, Y, and Z, but only because I know that I've made a ridiculous amount of sacrifices, and I continue to be committed to making those sacrifices to improve my craft. And I think that level of obsession is something that, for instance, I admire so much in professional athletes, right? Because if you ask Michael Phelps or Michael Jordan, are you a great at like basketball or swimming? And they'll say, I'm pretty good, but I can always get better. And I practice and practice and practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's what will give me certainty, right? I guess answer that question, because you know that you're giving your best into being one of the best in whatever you want to do. That's important. Um,
Yeah, I feel like when I was a kid, I would study the guitar 10, 12 hours a day and 6, maybe 7 days a week. So I would live with my guitar in my hands and I would be studying anything that got in my hands, like any song, any title, any specific guitar player techniques. And if you ask back then, I was pretty good at it. I was significantly above average. I was never, let's say, world class. But if I continued for 10 more years, maybe I could. No frustrations. I actually enjoy a lot the my biggest youth passion became my hobby. So I don't have a commitment to be good at. If you ask me today, I can play the guitar. I'm not great anymore, but uh, I, I I love the concept of mastery. Nothing is free, nothing comes easy. It's all about
Yes.
mastery, and you will get good at what you have the aptitude, but also where you concentrate your effort and energy.
Yes. Have you read Robert Greene's book on that? Uh, Robert
Who?
Greene is the guy that wrote 40 Laws of Power and 33 Rules, Strategies of War. Uh, I know this is the author that I gift the most books to founders. You,
I read 48 Laws of Power. Is it
well,
that
it's the
one or
same
is
author,
another
but
one?
he has this other book called Mastery, which is exactly about
I
yeah.
haven't
I
read
will
this
text
one.
me your address. I'll buy you a copy, and it's such a good book. And